Well, hello, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to Trail Talk. I'm Edie coming to you live from the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center here in Duncan, Oklahoma. We are in our Chuck Wagon studio and our very special guest today is Lois Dawn Jones. She is the communication director from the city of Duncan.
That would be a much shorter version of my job description.
She does have a lot of words behind her name when it comes to the job description.
I'm officially the Public Information and Civic Engagement Officer.
Okay.
But communications, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. She's here to communicate with us today
Exactly.
about the lakes, the Duncan area lakes, of which I think it's kind of interesting, a community our size that we actually have 4 lakes. That's something to ponder, and maybe we'll get to that. She has brought some photographs that she borrowed from the Stevens County Historical Society. COVA is so good to provide things like that. She's awesome. And she's got a lot of really great information to share with us. So let's get to that. I'm getting hand signals from behind the camera. That happens sometimes. I never really know. Anyway, LD, so you may, if you don't know her as Lois Dawn, you probably know LD Jones. And so this is LD. Welcome to Trail Talk.
Well, thank you, Edie. It's actually just a genuine pleasure to be here. I love having the opportunity to talk about the city of Duncan and the assets that we have as a community. And you are very right in the fact that we are very fortunate that we have 4 area lakes. In fact, when the lakes are marketed through the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department and the Oklahoma Fishing Trail, they actually call them Duncan area lakes.
Yes, I looked that up on the Oklahoma, I guess it's Travel Oklahoma, maybe.
Correct.
Website, which is a super great website, by the way, if you're looking for information about anything, any place in Oklahoma. But they do, and they have great little information bits about our lakes.
Correct.
They're very well publicized there. So that is a cool thing. Nice asset for us.
Well, we use our lakes now recreationally, but that was not actually their intended purpose when they were built.
Okay.
And they were all built within a span of 20 years. And our first lake was actually Duncan Lake. And I can't locate the actual construction date. And I even asked Cova Williams at the Historical Museum, and we don't know the date exactly for certain when it was actually constructed. So
you think there might be better record keeping, but yeah, no.
But it is the first of our 4 area lakes.
Okay.
It's also the smallest. It's 550 acres, and it is located 10 miles northeast of downtown. And it was an earthen dam, and it was built in 1930 something. That's about all we can tell you is 1930 something.
Okay.
It is probably the recreational lake that sees the most diverse usage because it is home to our equestrian trails, which we also have a lot of hikers use. And we also have a lot of disc golfers. And then, of course, we have people who love to fish, and we have boating and camping and swimming in designated areas.
Okay.
And there's plenty of recreational opportunities because we have 4 miles of shoreline that are part of Duncan Lake.
That seems like a pretty significant amount of shoreline.
It's small in comparison to the other 3.
Is it?
But it's actually really nice beach shoreline as well.
Right.
So we have a lot of families that love to go there.
And is Duncan Lake where Camp Wallahia is located also? So just going out, that's one reason it probably makes such a great camping place for scouts, is because of all of the hiking trails and the shoreline and all the activities that they have to do out there. I had a couple of Boy Scouts, my family, 2 of my boys, and we spent a lot of time out there. There are places to, I don't know, you can do all kinds of things out there at Duncan Lake, and it's a little hilly. It's not like just flat walk up to the lake. There are I don't know, the terrain, I guess, makes for an interesting hike.
It does.
And
we always like to encourage people. They are equestrian trails. That's what they were primarily built for. So we encourage people, if you're hiking or you're actually riding your bicycle on them, to be, very aware of your surroundings. Horses will spook if something comes up on them quite quickly and unexpectedly. And so we want to make sure that everybody shares that trail and does so with respect to all the other different types of activities that are occurring on it.
Right, right. So, do you want to show them?
I do.
Okay.
So even though we don't know what exact year that Duncan Lake was constructed, we do have some really cool photographs, and Edie's going to display
They're
them
pretty
for
high
us.
gloss, so I don't want to.
It'll be interesting to see if you can actually kind of zoom into it and take a look.
Yeah, keep on
That is the
zooming.
south side of Duncan Lake.
Can you do it tighter? Okay, the south side. Okay.
Yep, south side of Duncan Lake.
Uh-huh.
So that was after it was constructed. But we've also got a really fabulous photo of some individuals who are.
Yes. Oh, on this photo, so this area here,
Mhm.
do you think that line there is the dam? Hey, Scott, the little box is on the screen. Would you be able to move that for us, please? The this straight line here, is this the earthen dam that you are
I love the
that you
fact that you'd
mentioned?
like to ask me that question because I really couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I can't, I don't know from looking, but it seems as though because it's
Yes.
particularly straight,
Mhm.
it does not look natural
Mhm.
as far when you look at the rest of the shoreline. So that very likely could be the dam area. What a great aerial photo from this from 1956.
Mhm.
Great job, whoever had that little shutter speed camera. I'm impressed. Oh, looks like it's a Halliburton
Mhm.
thing. So anyway, well done.
Yeah, we've been very
That's
fortunate
great.
that Halliburton has shared a lot of their archived items with the Stevens County Historical Museum. And the museum, of course, has been a wonderful curator of a lot of the Halliburton's.
Okay,
history.
this one I am totally digging. I mean, this makes me want to have a flashback from where when I was a kid, my mom and dad had a boat, looked almost just like that.
Mhm.
Look at this. That boat's a Haas, though. It's got 2 motors on it, and they have 5 skiers behind it.
And the thing with, Duncan Lake is 550 acres, so it's really a short ski across.
Right.
In comparison to some of the other lakes.
You got to be really good at turning.
You do.
and
You
riding
do.
that weight behind the boat.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
Now, is this the one you were telling me about, the jumps?
Yes, in the 1960s, there were actually ski jumps at Duncan Lake. And ski jumps are very specifically designed. Back in the 60s, they were thin, wooden, almost like a rail that you skied on. And they had a very small, I guess you'd call it a rudder or a tail on the very end of the ski that helped you get the lift that you needed to go off the ski
To
jump.
fly off that ski jump. What a bunch of crazy daredevils out there.
So they might have been getting ready to head for that ski jump.
They
I
might
don't
have
know.
been
Yeah.
5 people. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have those little waist life preserver things
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
I remember those from back in the day. Oh, I'm taking a trip down memory lane with that picture, LD.
You're
It looks-
welcome. Yeah, kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, here's a different view.
Yeah, different view of
Another
the
view
lake.
of Duncan Lake. Here we go. This one was taken the same time as that other one.
And of
So-
course, our area lakes, they were, as I'd mentioned before, they were not designed for recreation.
Mhm.
They were actually designed for flood control as well as for use if we had a severe drought. And Nolan Fuquay, one of our community leaders,
Mhm.
he was determined that after a very severe drought that Duncan experienced, that the community would not have that type of experience again. And so he was one of the driving forces behind getting these lakes built. And all of our lakes are creek fed. And so it was a question of, controlling
Mhm.
and damming up those creeks in order for us to build the lakes that we currently have.
This looks like water treatment, doesn't it,
Mhm.
out there?
And I don't know that that exists any
I don't
longer.
either. That's,
Yeah.
I'm thinking they've moved all the water treatment things,
That's
but
correct.
evidently this one had to have been used by the
Mhm.
city to have the water treatment part on it.
Mhm.
Cool.
Originally, Duncan Lake was one of its uses was to provide water for a refinery that was south of Duncan, which of course
Okay.
is no longer within the community.
Right.
But it's my
Right.
understanding that that was one of the sources that they used for their water. was the
Okay.
lake itself.
Was
Mhm.
that, so it might not have provided for the rest of the city, but just,
Mhm.
so, but it still would have needed to be treated.
Yes,
So,
that's correct.
and very cool, very
Yeah.
cool.
Now, something that I thought was really interesting that I found out, the fishing in our area lakes is
Uh-huh.
actually quite diverse. And for Duncan Lake, there is catfish, crappie, largemouth bass, and sunfish,
Oh,
which I'm not a fisherman at
Mhm,
all.
mhm.
I do know that I'm supposed to hang on to the rod when you cast, and that's about as far as my fishing experience
Mm.
goes. But I understand that the fishing in our lakes is very good.
Mhm.
And in fact, one of our lakes is actually on the Oklahoma Fishing Trail. And you have to meet certain requirements to be part of the tourism department's official Oklahoma Fishing Trail.
Oh,
And one of our
cool.
4 is.
And one of ours is very nice.
Mhm.
I'm a bit of a fisher
Are you?
man, fisher. Or I like to fish. I'm just gonna say it like that. I really, really like to fish. And you know what? I have never fished in any of the Duncan Lakes.
Well,
I'm going to have to, I think so too.
Mhm.
I mean, there's nothing like catching some, I mean, you know, bass, of course, but I like to get some crappie are
Yes.
very fun to catch. And
Mhm.
sunfish are too.
Mhm.
They really are. They put up quite a little fight. In fact, on this little brochure, there's the coolest picture right
Yes.
there of that fish.
Mhm.
And that looks like it might be a crappie, actually. Anyway, sorry,
She digresses.
I digressed
She
big time,
digresses.
but yeah, about to go get some bait and tackle and head out.
Well, you need
to,
to, especially once I tell you what about one of our other lakes.
Oh,
And the fact that, but I'm going to save that. I'm gonna
okay,
save
yeah,
that. So we're going to move on to Clear Creek Lake next, and it is 660 acres.
yeah.
And it is a reservoir lake also,
Uh-huh.
13 miles northeast of the city. And I can tell you that it was officially built in 1948.
Oh, okay.
And it was an earthen dam.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. And that at full capacity, it's 26 feet deep. And because of all the rain that we have had this year, it is at full capacity.
Really?
Wow. In fact, we actually currently have the spillway project ongoing where they are repairing the Clear Creek Dam.
Mhm.
And they have had to drop the water level several times because of the amount of rainfall that we've had this year in order for the project to not get interrupted. So right now it's below the level it would be,
Right.
because they are deliberately lowering it so that the construction can continue and we can get the dam completely redone. It's going to be a fantastic project when it's finished.
So thought just popped in my head.
Mhm.
So it's the water is drained out, and I'm just thinking it goes into a creek.
Clear Creek.
Clear Creek.
Mhm.
Okay. So there would have to be a lot of consideration about how much they release and to make sure that the creek, I mean, if the rains have increased the water level in the, I almost called it a pond, in the lake, then, I mean, it would stand to reason that the creeks would be a little higher as well. So I just thinking
Yes.
about things, you know, there's a whole lot to that process.
There
It's
is.
not just,
Mhm.
oh, let's drain some water out. You have to take so many other things into consider literally what's downstream.
Yes, absolutely.
You know,
Mhm.
so
And it's one of the reasons that the Clear Creek Spillway project of the city of Duncan moved ahead with it is because there were concerns about the structure of the dam itself. It was aging and it needed to be replaced. And so,
before it collapsed,
Correct.
and then there'd be no control over
Correct.
it. Yeah.
correct. So we're really pleased that that project is moving on. It's on timeline, and if you're interested in that type of construction, you can always go to the City of Duncan Facebook page, and we're sharing updates on the Clear Creek Spillway project, as well as some time-lapse videos when we get them. So it's really kind of cool to see all the different work that they're doing as they're moving the project forward.
Very nice.
So it is also now a recreational lake.
Right?
It has 11 miles of shoreline.
Oh,
So we've gone from 4
Bumped.
miles to 11 miles.
yeah. Okay.
And we have a lot of camping spots at Clear Creek Lake, more than at Duncan Lake. Clear Creek actually is probably for people who come to visit our 4 area lakes, it is their preferred area to camp at. We have the most partial and rough camping sites. So partial, that means that there is electric is provided. And then rough,
Okay.
there are no services provided.
Oh,
But we have quite a number of both. It has some great fishing. Not only do you have the bass and the catfish and the crappie, but you're also going to find walleye at Clear
oh,
Creek Lake. And it is very popular with families because it's got a lovely beach area.
right, right. So, Clear Creek used to have, we kind of mentioned this yesterday, the concession stand.
It did.
Where they had the all-you-can-eat seafood buffet
Oh, wow.
on, like, I don't know, Friday night or Saturday night or something, like $10, you just, and there would be a line out the door.
Right.
For people to go in. And I don't even know what all happened that the concessions closed down, but it was not just a concession stand. They called it that. It was a full-on restaurant.
Right.
And also, I didn't think about this, but you know how Clear Creek has like houses or kind of cabins? They're not really cabins. They're actually houses.
They
I
are.
mean,
They're
a full
homes.
homes. Over there where that concession area is, I guess, is that where the only, is there just one boat ramp?
There are actually, yes, there's only one boat ramp. at
Okay,
Clear
so
Creek.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that's where the boat ramp is on that side too. Does Duncan Lake have houses or cabins like that? I don't,
No.
okay. Okay,
No,
I
not to
didn't
my
think I didn't think
knowledge,
so. That
no.
just kind of occurred to me.
Yeah.
That that is a difference, kind of a big difference between the two lakes, which makes it, all the more reason that you could enjoy visiting more than one,
Absolutely.
depending on what kind of outing you were going to have or what,
Correct,
what
because
you
there
were
aren't as many established trails around Clear Creek as there are around Duncan Lake. So if
Yeah.
you're somebody that wants to horseback ride or you want to actually bike well-established trails, you're going to want to go to Duncan Lake,
right,
in
right.
comparison.
Okay,
for sure.
that is really cool. I had a friend who, this was ages ago, but like they sold their house before they could actually move. And so another friend owned a house out at Clear Creek, and so they moved out there, and we just spent so much time out there at that house, and it was just, it's really nice to just go out your backyard and then walk just a few feet on down and you're at the lake.
That's right.
You're on the shore. And just kind of how nice that was, that those houses backed up to the lake, did not faced it, but backed up to it. Anyway, Clear Creek is probably the lake I've been to the most.
I would say that most people in Duncan would tell you the exact same thing. If they're going for recreation, to picnic with their family, to take the kids swimming, they're headed to Clear Creek, as well as any camping that they're going to do.
Right, right. So we have
yeah, we've actually got a photo of Clear Creek Lake.
Oh, and this is such a boss photo. I mean, this looks like the little copper tone girl here on this picture. Oh, this is great. So this one looks like it's from the Duncan banner. It's got a little note on the back of it. Let me see if we've got a date. 5.5. I don't know what that means. Anyway, but if you notice, this boat is pretty close to the shore. So it must drop off pretty quick out here for that boat to be able to be tooling around. Oh, let me pull it back there. Now it's clear. Now it's clear. Sorry, that was my mistake, Tina. I apologize. Yeah. But what a great picture. Don't you just love that picture? I mean, there's not even any trees.
Exactly.
Wow. I mean, there are trees everywhere out there now, but there is not a tree in sight. Look, you can't even see anything over across on the way. That is awesome. I love this picture. This is so good. Oh, and there's a dog looking at the camera right here. There is a dog turned and looking at the camera. The people aren't, but the dog is. Oh, that's hilarious. How fun.
Yeah, the Stevens County Historical Museum, they have so many different gems of photos. If you ever have the opportunity, I would definitely encourage you to go during their visiting hours and just spend some time taking a look at all of the old photography that's been taken throughout the years.
What a great, how fun. Yeah, Clear Creek, I mean, that's whenever I think about a lake here in Duncan, Clear Creek, that's always the one that pops in my head first.
Yeah.
So what a great lake. And so as far as water usage for the community, it's also been used for
in the past, yes, not currently, but the possibility is always there. If we were in a situation where we needed to access our reservoir lakes, we have the ability and technology to do so.
In fact, before we went on air, LD and I were talking about the very lengthy and severe drought we experienced. It's been almost 10 years ago now, hasn't it? I couldn't believe that when I first thought about that. But just that Waurika just kept getting lower and lower and lower. We were trying to conserve water in town, and it just kept going lower and lower. And then, you know, what ensued then was the silt buildup, and they had to do all of those things. Anyway, I remember very distinctly that Clear Creek was going to be the choice for the community to use as a water source, even though it was also lower. And, you know, a lot of people, I don't think really understood what kind of undertaking that would require when all of the pipes and everything that brought water into the city were from Waurika. They're not from Clear Creek in the same, to be able to deliver the same supply of water, you know, the same size of pipes and all those things that you need. And so I can remember people being very frustrated. I mean, it was a difficult time for everyone. No question. You couldn't water your yard. You couldn't, there was, you know, had to do so many things to conserve the water. But anyway, I can remember it being kind of a point of contention. You know, we have the lake, we should just use the water, but it's just not always that simple. It's not black and white like that. There are always more things to be considered. So
absolutely.
Anyway, it all worked itself out.
It did, because it rained, and Waurika filled back up.
Exactly.
And all of the communities that use Waurika Lake as their primary water source, everybody took a big, deep sigh of relief.
Yes, I remember when the rains began, people had actually started buying those big containers that they would take the rainwater from their gutter and send it directly into those containers. People just had containers of water sitting around for a long time. It was, we all became very water conscious.
We did. We absolutely did. And what's interesting about it is if you speak with our water department now, pre-drought and post-drought water consumption, it changed how the citizens of Duncan look at water, because we still do not use currently as much water on a daily basis as we did pre-drought.
Really?
Even in the height of summer.
Well done, Duncan. I said yesterday, we were talking about Waurika, and I said, we rode in the dehydrator, and one of the routes takes you down across the dam. And so my husband and I rode out there, and we stopped on that dam, and you could see all the way down to where the supports were on the ground, the bottom of the pond. The lake, you could literally see it. And I said, that right there made me conserve water even harder.
Yes.
When I saw that, and just felt kind of sick to my stomach that it was almost gone, you know, and it's definitely turn off that water, you know, just I love that Duncan has continued on with that. That's cool. That's great.
It is great that the community still, you know, thinks about their water usage.
Yeah, we had a wake-up call.
We did.
And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good response,
we did indeed.
Duncan.
We did.
Good response.
Well, our next lake that we're going to talk about is Lake Humphreys.
Okay.
And it has over 880 acres. It was built in 1958.
Okay.
Its full capacity is 40 feet.
Oh, wait. It's
Full capacity when it's full, when
oh,
it's
it's
rained a lot,
40, so it'd be
is 40 feet deep. Yes.
Deep.
So Clear Creek
What?
at full capacity is only 26 feet.
Yeah.
Humphreys is 40 feet.
Wow, that's pretty deep.
And on average, it's about 36 feet on
Really?
average every year.
Wow.
It has 17 miles of shoreline.
Okay.
And there are even more varieties of fish in it. We've got large and smallmouth bass. We've got crappie. We've got sand bass, carp, catfish. And it is on the Oklahoma Fishing Trail because the fishing is so good at Lake Humphreys. As a matter of fact, there have been several bass that were record-breaking sized bass when they were captured.
Wow.
So
that's a great
since
little.
you haven't fished there
I
yet,
know.
you might want to give
That's
it a
what
try.
I'm thinking. I'm about to go tell the husband, let's you get a line and I get a pole. We'll go
That's
fishing.
right. That's right.
That sounds that's amazing. And I love it that we're on that lake is on a special trail. That lake to me is very it's picturesque too.
Yes.
It's very beautiful, lush.
I'm very glad you
maybe.
said that because it's actually one of the reasons that people will travel from outside of our area, and even the locals will go to Lake Humphreys, is to take photos of the lake itself and also the wildlife.
Oh, right. Yes.
You can go out, you can feed the deer. There's turkey. There's all sorts of creatures, big and small, that call Humphreys home. And there's just some really unique opportunities if you're someone who enjoys taking photos.
Right. We have gone out there before. My husband likes to take photos, and so we have gone out there for that and to feed the deer. I mean,
oh yeah, it's
you
a cool
just
experience.
It is,
Yeah.
And especially if you have little kids, just feeding those deer out there. Those deer are they're more tame than my dog would be. They're more friendly than my dog would be walking up and taking food.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah.
It has 3 boat ramps.
Oh, okay.
Because it is primarily a fishing lake. We actually just completed renovations of the restrooms there, so they are very nice. It has an enclosed fishing dock. The one thing about Humphreys that's different than the other 2 lakes we've already talked about, though, is that swimming is not recommended. So one of the reasons that Humphreys is such a good lake to fish is because when they dammed it up and flooded that area, all of the trees that were in that area, they were not removed. And so it creates wonderful habitat for your fish. But if you are somebody who is swimming, you can get caught up in it. If you are, obviously fishing boats are allowed on that lake, but nothing with large motors, no water skiing, no jet skis. And it's again for the same reason, because if you fall into the water, those trees are not necessarily that deep below the surface in certain areas. And so, you're encouraged to not swim. We have 3 other lakes that are very close by where there's lots of designated swimming areas, but we certainly encourage individuals to respect the fact that that is a fishing lake and just to be aware of that. Right.
Well, and it's good information to know that it's just not randomly, we don't want you to swim there.
Right.
There are valid reasons for not swimming
Yes.
in a lake like that. And so I'm really glad that you shared all that whole, story of why, because sometimes people just think,
yeah, that's a silly rule.
Right. But
it's for everyone's safety.
Yeah, it's a very
Absolutely.
Serious
It is.
recommendation. Right. Plus, anyone who knows anything about fishing knows that the worst thing in the world is a bunch of swimmers splashing around. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, seriously, you don't want to scare the fish off.
Or really fast boats.
Or really fast boats.
Yes,
exactly.
Just totally doesn't help.
Yeah. Now, you may not know, are people allowed to put like trot lines out?
Yes.
In in any of the lakes? Or the
There
three that
are, I would recommend that you go to the City of Duncan website, duncanok.gov, because all of the rules that I'm not necessarily 100% accurate on, and I would hate to misinform people
Mhm.
because I would never hear the end of it.
Well, I will say, LD, you've only been at this position
I began in April.
in April. So, I mean, she's learning. I'm sure it's drinking from a fire hose. There's
It
a
is.
lot,
It
a
is.
lot to learn.
It's
so.
why I have cheat sheets.
Right.
That I'm hiding behind my brochure, but I just told everybody about them. So
Oh, well.
absolutely,
Oh, well.
absolutely.
Okay, so, yeah, just check the website. That's good.
Yeah, and
That's good
it will tell you all of the different costs for the different types of permits.
Mhm.
It will tell you what the different regulations and rules are for the lakes. And so we always encourage everyone to stay up to date with all of that. Now, I did bring a really cool photo, and
Mhm.
this is during the construction
Earth
of
and
Humphreys.
It says earth and dirt dam still open, not yet completed.
Yeah.
And I'm probably a little challenged at identifying the exact what they're talking about on this, but those of you with that kind of brain,
And the fact that there's
Enjoy.
literally no water in there yet.
yeah,
That's what's
Yeah,
kind of cool about
that-
it. It's
that's
literally just
true.
the
uh-huh,
dirt work that's done.
yeah,
And then I think that there's another photo in there as
Yes.
well
yes.
that has the water in it, if memory serves me right. There we go.
There you go, right there.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. Might be easier to see where the dam is in this photo
As compared.
as
Mhm.
compared to this one. Yeah, you can kind of
Yep,
see the
you can see it.
roadway
You can see the
and all
road.
that.
Mhm.
And so I guess these three lakes all have earthen dams.
Yes.
We don't have the big ones that you control. Like yesterday, there was a picture, I showed a picture of Lake Overholser, which has
Right.
that massive dam because I fish there. And it's
Ah,
great fishing when they're turning the water out. And the
Yes.
fish are literally just flying through there. And you can catch them so easily.
Yes.
So fun. But yeah, I mean, an earthen dam, that's a completely different situation. But
Yes.
so Lake Humphreys, again,
Mhm.
initially built for a source of water
Correct.
and probably some flood control
Yes.
to just maintain the water, just maintaining it.
Correct.
Maintain, yeah.
Well, because, we have, obviously, the rains can come down here so heavily and so quickly. Flash flooding is always a concern in southwestern Oklahoma. And so those lakes were all stopgaps to
Right.
try to make sure that that was more easily controlled,
Mhm.
as well as providing us with water sources if we did need them.
Yeah, yeah. So cool.
And so our last lake.
The last lake, and
Mm.
Mr. Fuquay was
Yes.
responsible for all 4 of Duncan's
Yes.
lakes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. And it is over 1,500 acres,
Whoa.
built in 1962. And it's 21 miles northeast of downtown. And there are
Okay.
18 miles of shoreline. So it is the big brother to all of the
Right.
others, and significantly much
Mhm.
larger lake.
Significantly,
Mhm.
yeah.
Almost double the size.
Yes.
And so
Wow.
it is obviously used recreationally as well. 2 boat ramps, lots of partial camping sites, great fishing, swimming. And this is the lake that held the state record for the largest largemouth bass in 1989.
Really?
So it might be
Wow.
time to
Yeah.
land another record.
Big Bessie is
The-
out there
yes, so-
waiting for me.
Yes, she's waiting for you, and you just need to
Uh-huh.
go out there and do a little fishing.
The lake? Oh,
Lake-
this is
Lake Fuquay.
Lake Fuquay. This one, this lake,
Okay.
it has, sorry, you're right, Tina, we did not say the name of this lake. This lake is the one lake named for Mr. Fuquay.
Correct. Mhm.
And I think that was well done, that we should, I mean, we had Fuquay Park. Mr. Fuquay was a great
Visionary.
visionary.
He
Yes,
was.
absolutely.
Yep. And a wonderful steward of the community and
Mhm.
of Duncan, and wanting to make sure that Duncan moved forward and progressed and
Mhm.
developed and provided everything that it needed to for its citizens.
Right.
Mhm.
And for those of you who are not sure, Fuqua, Fuquay.
Yes.
I know it's a little hard to pronounce. You're not sure if you haven't heard it or seen it, but we're just going to put the two things together for you. Fuqua, Fuquay.
Yes.
I've heard some misspoken pronunciations in the past, so I just thought I'd clear that up for everybody who might be questioning, just in case.
Indeed, indeed. So that sort of wraps up our 4 area lakes.
Okay.
So you add that all together and it's a significant amount of water acres.
Yes.
And opportunities for recreation.
Right.
And things to do with your family, whether you are a local or whether you come from all over the state or outside of the state to visit our area lakes. They are city owned and city maintained. There have been some improvements at each of the lakes this last couple of years.
Right.
Those improvements are planning to continue.
Uh-huh.
We are actively searching for grants because all of this takes money.
Right.
And, like all cities in Oklahoma, city of Duncan has its revenue sources through its utilities and through its sales tax.
Right.
So it's really important, especially as we're moving into our holiday season, that you frequent our local shops and shop local. Because all of those sales tax dollars make sure that we have all of the different kinds of amenities that we as citizens of this community want to have. Including having some wonderful recreation areas to take our families to at our 4 area lakes.
Right, exactly. Well said. Also, are there ways that the community could support by serving on boards that kind of help
Absolutely.
with the lakes too? Why don't you talk to that? for a minute?
Absolutely. So there are many different areas of the city that have commissions. And those commissions are volunteers. Those commissioners they assist in guiding the decisions that are making recommendations to the city council of things that they would like to see happen, whether it's at our parks or at our lakes. And so if you're interested in ever serving on one of those commissions, you can go to duncanok.gov and you can locate the application and fill it out and submit it. And as there are openings on the commissions, then the city manager appoints those vacancies.
Okay, very good. And I feel like that is supporting, I'm just going to say, if you have a keen interest in supporting your local government in a very tangible way, outside of financially, serve on one of these commissions. They're put there to engage the public and to, that way you represent your own interests or maybe people that and it's just a great way to serve our community.
Absolutely.
And so I encourage you to look that up and see what commissions are even there that you might be interested in. But I knew that the lakes was one area that in the past, I know it's like they've never had a full, not every seat available has been full.
That's
been
correct.
filled. And so that means there's a need there.
Yes.
So,
and actually, prior to becoming a city employee, I had the opportunity to serve as a commissioner on the Lakes Commission.
okay.
And, I'm very proud of the recent improvements that have happened over the last 3 years at our area lakes. There's definitely more work to do. But the commitment is there from the city of Duncan. We want to make those lakes be the best that they absolutely can be for our citizens, but also for people who want to come and visit, because those visitors, they also bring their spending power to our community, which increases our sales tax.
Right.
And so we definitely want to continue making improvements to our area lakes, actively seeking out grants, certainly interested in public-private partnerships. So, you mentioned the concessions that used to function at Clear Creek Lake, and there isn't there any longer. if there is an entrepreneur who sees a business opportunity that they think that they can make work at one of our area lakes, we certainly encourage you to contact the city manager's office and open up that dialogue and that discussion. Because the more things that we bring to our area lakes, the more people are going to want to spend time out there.
Right.
And so it's a win-win for absolutely everyone.
Exactly. What a great idea. I know some of you out there, you have all kinds of ideas swirling around in your head all the time. What a great thing to go put one of those ideas to work at one of our lakes. How fun would that be? Well, LD, this has been very informative and very fun. It makes me really want to just go out and, spend time in nature and enjoying our lakes.
Absolutely. Well, and I think one of the things that's been quite interesting to me is I read a recent study saying that nationally, people are spending more time back out in the great outdoors. And so we have the perfect opportunity at our 4 area lakes with hundreds of miles of shoreline, to do just that.
Right, exactly. And something I have some friends who've done some bird watching, I think, out at some of the lakes. I just remembered that. And they've seen eagles and other birds out there. So that would be very cool as well. Last week we had a golden eagle on.
Oh,
those
very cool.
Birds are massive. I mean, the talons were like my fingers. This bird was so beautiful, but there's wildlife out there that you can go and appreciate and just go do some bird watching. What a fun activity for any age. You could do that as a family easily.
Well, I was out at Lake Humphreys. We had KSWO. They're a great partner for the city of Duncan in letting everybody know what's going on in our community. And we featured Lake Humphreys. And I was out there getting everything ready for the film crew to come. And there was a couple, and they were camping, and they were sitting by their camper having their morning coffee, and there were fawns frolicking within 5 feet of where they were sitting. So, and the mom was just laying in the grass by the tree, just kind of watching them to make sure that everything was fine. But, there's so many different unique experiences that you can have at our 4 area lakes. So just get out there. Enjoy it.
That is so great. And I think you were going to mention the rates.
Yes, if you're interested in learning more about the different rates, obviously fishing requires a permit, as well as camping and hunting. You can go ahead and purchase those at the kiosks at the area lakes or at City Hall or at the Duncan Police Department.
Okay.
And the rates are extremely reasonable. And if you're interested, I can tell you that, your fishing permits are $2 per day or $10 for the whole year.
That's a no-brainer.
Yes, a boating permit, $25 a year or $5 per day. Our camping for rough camping, $7 a day, and then our full hookup, $17 a day. And we also have a senior rate. So it's definitely extremely affordable. And obviously, if you want to just come out and picnic and have your children swim and play on the playground equipment, that's free entertainment.
Right. So I noticed there are hunting permits as well. Is hunting allowed at every lake?
Certain lakes and in certain areas of each lake.
Okay.
And there's further information on the website as well for that at duncanok.gov.
Okay. Awesome. Very good. Very good. Well, we certainly hope you've learned a lot. Now, before I get off here, Scott's not here to remind me, but I do. Oh, Tina's got a note. Saturday.
Yes.
Right here at the Heritage Center from 1 to 5, we have an amazing event, our second annual Raining in the Arts. We will have 3 separate performance areas. We have musicians, bands, dancers, poets, actors. I mean, we got you covered. No matter what you're interested in, we've got you covered. And then there will be an art stroll inside with our art available for purchase. You can meet the artists, and the museum is free of charge all day. So you can come in and enjoy our theaters and all the other great things that we have around here. And, you know, if you're lucky, you might even see a Longhorn and a Santa hat, because that's right, we have some of those here right now. We're very festive already, LD. So anyway, you guys come by. It's just a come and go event. The stages, the performers will be 30 minutes at each on their stages where they're performing. So there's just such a great variety. A lot of friends. We have food truck. The Cotton Blossom Winery will be here. We'll have water and soda and things like that available. So come on out.
So what time does the museum open on Saturday?
We open at 10, but the event starts at 1, but the museum's going to be free all day. So plan to come. It's going to be a beautiful Saturday. It's not going to be cold or cloudy like it has been the last few days. So come and join us on Saturday afternoon. We're going to have a dang good time.
We are raining in the arts.
Raining in the arts, like, you know, horse rains, just in case you're wondering.
Well, thanks for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the city of Duncan.
Well, thanks for coming. I bet I can think of another reason to have you on in the future. So maybe LD can look up some other great things.
Absolutely.
And come on and talk about them. So time for us to say goodbye. And we always say happy trails.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
On a count of 3. 1,
Yeah.
2, 3.
Happy trails.